Okay, so that's JosefVStalin, and welcome back to drop-in battle for Napoleon Total War. Sorry, let's start this up here. And I can immediately tell you right off the bat that this is not a campaign map. This is in fact a historical map scenario. I recognize it as the first historical scenario you can play in when you start up the game, but obviously this is not the actual historical battle. But anyway, before we get into the battle statistics and the map characteristics, let's talk about my army. And I command the Russian troops, and with me I have 6 units of musketeers defending both sides of this little cliff here. I've got 1 6-pounder horse artillery and another 10-pounder unicorn, which is a sort of howitzer. And then to boot, I have 3 units of Russian Jaegers right here, a general, and one unit of Cossacks and 2 units of Uhlans. And let's fly over, and our omnipotent self fly over to the Dutch army, which has 6 units of line infantry. Let's see if we can find the rest of them. They might be disappearing. They've got 1 unit of carabiners, 2 units of hussars. Where's their artillery? It's over here. 1 6-pounder artillery and 1 7-pounder howitzer. And then they have 1 unit of these guys called Dutch flanqueurs, and 2 units of these sniper infantry called Nassau Jaegers. And anyway, most of this battle consisted of my opponent trying to kind of get into a better position to attack me on this hill. I'm on the defensive side, and I could have chose to guard these river crossings, and if I were to play this map again, I probably would guard the rivers, but I chose this hill as my defensive position. And probably the first, like 80% of this battle is just me bombarding him as he moves from his starting area all the way up to this forest over here, and I'm just going to skip to that point, which is where the main sort of crux of the battle happens. So, alright, let's get back to the battle here. I've skipped about, I don't know, 20 minutes in, but however, you did not miss much fighting. What happened is basically, he brought some of his troops across this bridge, and you can see my artillery bombarded them. They bombarded them here. They got a particularly good shot, and they bombarded them all the way around where they were trying to flank me. And so now, the Dutch stand from the starting position on top of this hill, facing down my troops over here, while my artillery continued to bombard them on top of this hill. And the Dutch have taken heavy losses. This unit is down to 31, 29, and other losses. But however, he has a massive advantage in infantry, because these Nassau Jaegers have much longer range than any of my units, and they continually harass me during the duration of this battle. You can see they've picked off some of my Russian troops here. You can see the corpses littering the ground. Killed 9 of these guys, 12 of these guys, 6 of these guys. So they've taken heavy losses on my army. I did get a chance to wipe them out when I was looking through my replay, and I missed. These guys were isolated at one point, but I missed it, and it was quite unfortunate, and I had the chance to take them out. But you can see my line is formed up ready to face the Dutch line, which predominantly is on this hill, and they do have some troops over here waiting on the wings, I guess, in reserves. So you can see that I was able to catch his Jaegers off guard as I moved some of my Russian Jaegers, which are of inferior range, into a position where they can shoot at them and take them out. And you can see here's my artillery over here, and some more artillery back there. This is where my Cossack cavalry lies in weight to 2 pounds. As you can see, he moved up his light infantry onto this road here. I'm moving forward some of my musketeers to deal with him as they get shot out. And here comes the Russian Cossack charge. And this is the charge that decides the entire battle. entire battle was decided in minutes. As you can see, one of his troops got hit by a particularly bad artillery shell and fled. But these guys are really the heroes of the battle. They charged this light infantry regiment, forcing it to shatter. And while taking hits from Dutch line infantry, they move along and attack these Nassau Jaegers, which are isolated. His line infantry continue to attack my cavalry. They are unfazed by the musket fire and do their job and cut down these superior skirmishers with relative ease. The Dutch, however, countercharge my cavalry. I do the best I can to pull back the Russian Cossacks. However, the Dutch have superior cavalry, and I will lose most of my horses in the retreat. However, the Dutch use this opportunity to countercharge my Jaegers, countercharge my line infantry, and I left a large hole in the center here that I didn't notice. So I moved some of these musketeers from the wings into a position where they can shoot at these Dutch horsemen, while what little horsemen I have that remain
our men are running, sir.
Charge their cavalry and force them to retreat. They had to retreat in their heavy musket fire. The Dutch are launching counter-offensives along the line. You can see that they forced some of my Jaegers back. They've killed them all. And unit of Dutch line infantry charges my musketeers. However, they were unable to defeat Russian steel and Russian bayonet, and my Russian boys massacre them and force them away. And at this point, most of the Dutch line infantry have been overwhelmed in an instant, and my opponent sees the last thing he can really do is charge his two last line infantry regiments at my Russian musketeers, and along with his general, he has some more Dutch infantry sitting over here trying to fire at me from bushes and cover. But over here you can see the last real threat in his force, including his general, charges some of my weakened Russian musketeers. His general inspires his units. However, I bring in what little remains of my cavalry. They come in behind, the 5 Russian Cossacks come in behind, charge them from the back, kill their general in that charge, and that seals the deal. The Dutch units see the death of their general, see that all hope is lost, break and flee from the field of battle. So within seconds, this ridiculously long battle, which involved much tactical maneuvering on my opponent's part to try and move into a technically superior position where he could attack me from the flanks of this cliff which I held, were all for naught, as Russian steel and Russian bayonet was able to force the Dutch advance back. And apparently I got hit from my own cannon as they're moving from this hill to attack their artillery way back here in the corner, and I have no idea what he was doing with his artillery. He left them back here the entire time, and I have to say this was probably his biggest mistake, as he left his artillery back here, not bringing them into position to bear against my army. So here comes the last stage in this battle where my men try and charge his artillery batteries. And they actually have a little bit of a tough time doing it. Charging artillery batteries is not a fun task in this game. So you can see that my men took a hit from their canister shot, and they charge. And I believe I've said this before, but the artillery crews in Napoleon Total War can actually hold their own. They are actually pretty capable fighters, and they were able to actually force this unit of musketeers to flee, only taking 2 casualties in their own. But more Russian musketeers come to take their place, and we're eventually able to overwhelm these guys with sheer weight of numbers. To knock them out. Then he has another artillery battery kind of hidden behind this house. I guess we'll just speed it up a little bit.
Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Okay, enough sound effects. Yeah, here comes what little remains of my guys, and most of them are pretty tired from running all the way from this position all the way back into this corner here. But here they come to charge this last artillery crew, which has done nothing. They just kind of sat there and kind of let the onslaught happen. they get overwhelmed, and that's the end of the battle. That puts an end to my opponent. His name was Levinicus. I should have stated at the start. You'll see it at the ending screen though. There we go, Levinicus commanded the Dutch, I commanded the Russians, NKVD, and then it's supposed to be JosefVStalin, but it's in Russian, so the game can't recognize it, so it just kind of messes it up. But anyway, I deployed 393 troops, he deployed 373, I lost 188, he lost 287, and good game, and this is going to be JosefVStalin signing off for now, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield.